It's your boy Dan Davis II. Welcome into OVERT Conversations. This is something a little different. Never really did this before, but I do have a guest with me today. I'm gonna read her bio and then I'm gonna introduce her to you guys. So, she is the founder of Symone Talks, and she's an author. She's a bold voice for healing and authenticity. After battling depression, suicidal thoughts, and attempts, colorism, and internalized pain, she discovered the power of healing through honest conversation. What began as a personal therapeutic healing through talking has blossomed into a ministry and movement. She helps others find freedom, hope, restoration through events, storytelling, and faith. Symone now uses her voice to break silence, build community, and inspire others to heal out loud. I introduce to you guys Miss Symone Dunlap.
Hi.
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. This is actually my first interview or conversation of 2025. I did kind of take a little hiatus from ministry a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to do this and share my story, especially since so much has changed and shifted over the past year of me transitioning to a new state. But we'll get all into that later. But like he said, I'm Symone Dunlap, the founder of Symone Talks. I'm a mental health advocate, a certified confidence and life coach, as well as an author with the women's ministry and men too, and children, everybody. I'm for everybody in the kingdom.
Now, we're going to get into your first book a little bit later, but I want to first off thank you for being my first guest. We go way back, high school days. And it's been how long now? I don't want to age us.
20.
Yeah. I don't want to age us, but hey, I've been seeing what the Lord has been doing in your life over the past decade and some change, and man, it's been awesome. And I want to thank you because folks out there, if y'all don't know, Symone was actually the first person to have me on as a guest. And after our conversation, she was like, "Yo, now you need to take this further." Now, that was around the time where I was in a pruning state, so God was really dealing with me at that time, but now I'm doing exactly what she said that I need to go ahead and go forth and do. So, Symone, I appreciate you.
We proud of you.
Yeah. Well, let's get into who Symone is. So, how was your upbringing?
So I am one of 9 siblings. I have 3 older brothers, 2 older sisters, and 3 younger brothers. So I am the baby girl. I'm not the youngest though. And I'm the middle child. But we were all brought up in different like generations and we experienced different forms of our parents is what I'll say. So my upbringing compared to my older sisters is totally different. And my older brothers is totally different from me and my younger siblings. I was actually talking to one of my older sisters about this. It's like the parents they experience, and this is no, let me make this disclaimer. This is no shade to my parents. Y'all know I love my parents. I'm a daddy's girl. I love my mama. I love them to death. But we talked about how our relationships and the upbringings were totally different. Like our parents were more active in their life versus when it came to the younger children, they got a little bit more lenient with us. And it's more so like our older siblings had to step in and kind of like take care of us. And like they got our parents when they were working 100% this, that, and the third. When we were growing up, we lost our home in high school. It was like so many different things that we experienced from our parents that my older siblings didn't go through. Like when my older siblings, like my mama was taking my cousins in and stuff like that. So it was like my upbringing, it was very rocky in the beginning. And to have so many siblings it's crazy to see like the different dynamics of how we experience our parents.
Yeah.
And how we relate and don't relate to each other, but still show up for each other strongly when needed. So I would say I had a mixture of upbringing. As some of you know, I am originally from Jacksonville. So I did grow up in Jacksonville till I was about like 14, 15. And then that's when I transitioned to Tallahassee, where I finished high school my last 2 years. And I stayed there for a little bit. Um, which is actually when I really like encountered God and really changed my life and really like was on fire. But y'all know when you go to college and you have peer pressure, you're just like, I don't want to do this guy. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. Like, I was the total opposite of all of my friends. And it was like, Simone, you're boring. You don't do anything. So I was like, you know what? Since I'm so boring, I decided to change who I was and to start to fit in with everybody, and it just took me on a downhill spiral, which is when I started experiencing depression, suicide. It was actually in college, like my first suicide attempt. I was in college. I experienced sexual assault. Like, it was so many different things that I experienced because I wanted to fit in. Like, I wanted to have friends, and I wanted these different things that I thought was fulfilling at the time, but was more so of the world and of pleasing to man and not pleasing to God.
Right.
So that's a little bit about my upbringing.
You talked about growing up in Jacksonville,
Mhm.
and then transitioning to Tallahassee. Was there a culture shock there, and like, what was the difference for you?
So I'm not gonna lie, I did not want to leave Jacksonville. Like, it was the hardest thing. Like, I had all my friends, like I grew up with my friends. We all went to the same elementary school, then we went to the same middle school, then we went to the same high school. A lot of us lived in the same neighborhood. Like, it was like I knew I had community there. I knew I had friends there. I knew I had relationships there, and I didn't want to leave it. And that's crazy said that. And then so it's like the children of Israel. Like, I
Mm,
was so familiar there. Oh
yeah.
God. Okay,
Yeah.
God. It's going all the way back. I was so familiar there that I didn't want to leave. And then coming into Tallahassee, it was a complete culture shock. Like, even like the education system was totally different.
Mm,
So it was classes that they wanted me to retake that I had took in middle school in Jacksonville. Like, the people were totally different. I didn't really know anybody. I knew some people because before moving to Tallahassee, we did spend the summer there. So I did like meet some people through the church that I was attending. And then I knew like college students because my sister, she was in college. So I knew like older college people. But it was like total like opposite. Like, I experienced bullying too, like a little bit in Jacksonville, but it was like once I got to Tallahassee, it was totally different. Like, people talked about my hair, they talked about the way that I dressed. It was like so many different things. I was called a black B word that I experienced that I never experienced in Jacksonville. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not like I didn't like it. I didn't like Tallahassee.
yeah.
Although I stayed there for so long, I did not like it. But I also, because I was so stuck back to what I was like, the Holy Spirit was referencing, because I was so stuck on what was so familiar, I also was struggling with trying to like build friendships there and not compare everything and everybody to what I was used to. Like, I still had that struggle of, oh, this is what we did here, this is what I experienced there. This is how my friends were in Jacksonville. This is the relationships I had here. But it was hard for me to like let that go and embrace where I was and fully take on like the friendships that God did give me there, the community that He did build there. Like, it took me time to get comfortable in it and really like embrace those things. So it was a culture shock because my mom, one of the biggest things she did put us in predominantly Caucasian schools.
Mm,
So being that I'm used to this and then I'm coming into this, it was a shift, a big shift, a big change. And then I didn't have my parents. I was staying with my older sister.
mm,
Like, I was on my own. Like, it wasn't a lot of structure. Like, it wasn't a lot of like meals and this, that, and the third. Like, it was everything. Like, my whole, people don't understand. Me moving to Tallahassee was a whole shift of everything that I was used to. Like, my dad cooked, my mama brought my clothes. Like, those things changed quickly with me moving there. And my sister getting guardianship of me. Like, I didn't have as much there that I had back in Jacksonville.
So I feel you on moving to Tallahassee. I came from Miami. So like living in Miami, it was all Hispanic and people from the islands. Like I might have had one friend that was white, but it wasn't too many white people. When I moved to Tallahassee, it was a complete culture shock and it was a big divide between black people and white people. So
Mhm.
that was a culture shock in itself. And then it was I was living with my mom, but my dad was no longer present in the home. That was definitely a big change too. I saw myself kind of like grow up faster than I was supposed to, because you're the oldest. Well, me, I'm the oldest. I'm supposed to be the man of the house now. So, but let's talk about you said when you first moved to Tallahassee, you got called out of your name a lot, and because you moved from like a predominantly white institution to black institutions, there was definitely a level of adaptation there and assimilation that you had to face. What were some of the experiences that you had that made you kind of, I guess I don't want to say lose self-confidence, but like not really have the confidence that you have now?
So at that time, as I stated before, like I didn't have my parents in my household. It was just me and my older sister. So like it wasn't a lot of money for me to like get clothes, do like
Mm.
hair, stuff like that. So at this time, I'm learning to do my own hair. So I'm trying out different hairstyles, different things of that nature. And I'm a beginner, so I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, it was a certain hairstyle that I did. It was like a curly mohawk. I don't know if I did it or my sister did it or we did it together. But I just remember, I'll never forget. And I remember being in English class and it was just people just talking about how I looked like a peacock and my hair was just sticking out on my head. And it was mainly women. That's the worst part. It was
Mm.
a lot of women that were like making these comments and making me very like uncomfortable, to the point that I think I left. Like I literally left because it was just so much being said, and I could just feel like I could feel the judgment. I
Mhm.
just left and I went in and I hid out. Like having people have so many opinions about you in a new place where you want to fit in and you try to fit in and then you don't have what you had before, like your mom taking you to go shopping for back to school or get your hair done for back to school. Like it just made me feel like ugly. Like
Mm.
I tried different things, but I still felt like because I didn't have the resources that I had prior to, like I was just this ugly black girl. I looked rough, I looked crazy, recycling clothes and this, that, and the third. And I feel like people didn't really care. Like,
Mm.
yeah, you new here, but we don't care. You
Yeah.
came from this and that. We don't care. Like they didn't care about my life on the outside of school. They more so cared about how I showed up being there,
Mm.
not understanding that I was adjusting to an unfamiliar life myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Um, I know you mentioned like colorism and being called a black bee and all of that. Um, I think most black people go through that in a sense. Talk a little bit about, kind of go into depth about that, those sentiments being called out your name as far as your color goes, and what that did to your self-esteem.
So being as far as like the color of my skin, that's something that I was picked on about all through my life. Let me put that disclaimer
Yeah.
out there. Even in Jacksonville, I remember people saying, "Oh, if we turn the lights off, all we gonna see is your teeth." Like it
Yep.
was just like being dark skinned was like a curse.
Mm.
And I remember like even like through my ministry, I remember doing research on it because I have a memoir. I'm not gonna get to that because it's not even done, not even written.
Okay.
And but it's titled If You're Black, Get Back. And I remember doing research. There's actual a song from back in the day. Like it's really a song. People don't know how deep this goes far back. And it was like, if you're white, you're all right. If you're brown, stick around. And if you're black, get back. And it's just like that's how I felt. If I was, because I was so dark and I was so black that I had to get back. The worst part was it wasn't Caucasians that was saying these things about me. It was other black people that were
Yeah.
different shades. Like it was my own race that was making me feel inferior because of the shade of my skin, which I had no control over. And I just felt like I was ugly. I felt
Mm.
like I was being what is it they say, discriminated against from my own people, which we go hard for our people, we love our people, we stand for our people. And it was just like, growing up, I didn't understand it. I was young, I really didn't understand it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. And our parents were like, oh, if a boy is mean to you, he like you, yada yada yada. But what about the women that are saying these things too? Like, what about, those things? And I remember I did have friends back in Jacksonville. I remember I had this friend, Ashlyn. Shout out to you, girl. I love you. We were in elementary school. Like, she had my back when people would talk about the color of my skin, teachers would my name, like anything of that nature. She would like stand up and she would speak for me. Cause I was scared to speak for myself. Like, I'm a person, I'm big on peace. So I don't like confrontation. So that's where the silence began. I'll just be quiet. And eventually if I'm quiet, it'll just go away or they'll just leave me alone. But no, that wasn't the case. And people would always, like, I would have people speak up for me because I was scared to speak up for myself because I didn't want to like cause problems. I didn't want to get anybody in trouble, but I saw the complexion of my skin as being a curse. I saw it as being ugly, and I saw it as, I'm Black, but like, I'm African American, but I'm Black. Like, I'm just Black,
Yeah.
and that's
I
ugly.
think I think it's different for men and women when they deal with colorism. Cause like, yeah, I got the damn, you crispy, you burnt when I was little. But when I got to high school, I don't know, it seemed like dark skinned dudes was in. Cause I ain't had no problem. I had no problems. But I definitely think it's different for women. And
Mhm.
and then also you touched on earlier, like it was women that were doing most of the ridiculing. You said that you felt like you were African American, but you felt like more than anything you were Black and that it was a curse. When did the mindset shift for you into I'm dark skinned but I'm beautiful?
So y'all know, when I got to college and I was able to like get financial aid, that's when I like started actually getting my hair done professionally. I started to change the way that I dressed on the outside, not the inside. I changed how I looked on the outside, and in me making those changes, it attracted people. Like, what they say, when you look good, you feel good. Like, that's how I feel. I look good, I feel good. But on the inside, I was still broken. It was still things on the inside that I didn't clean up. But on the outside, I had the money that I didn't have. And I was able to clean up, like, how I dressed, how I carried myself, and build like that beauty. Like, and that's really what happened. I started changing how I dressed, how I talked, how I like presented myself. And that's when people say, oh, you're beautiful. Like, if you know me, I have a personal Instagram, it's called I am_Black Beauty. And that's where the confidence came in. Like, I started being able to like style myself the way that I wanted to, because I'm big on fashion, big on hair and stuff. So I was able to do the things that I couldn't do in high school. And through all of that, everybody started to see me differently. I started to attract men, some for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, yeah,
But it was just like, dressing it up made the beauty like amplify. And that's when I had the shift in, I'm beautiful.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm Black beauty. Like, that's who I am. And I had a little I had a little, what they say, Instagram fame. And it was just like, yeah, people recognized me out in the street and stuff, me and my best friend at the time. So it was just like, yeah. Once I got to college, yeah, I was Mike Jones, and I just I started to love myself.
Yeah, yeah.
But that
Black
only
women fool
lasted
me.
so long.
You could talk to 15, 16-year-old Symone with the confidence that you have now, what would you tell her as far as like the whole colorism, feeling like you have a curse on you? Like, what would you say to her and how would you nurture her?
I would tell her, first of all, beauty is skin deep.
Mm.
Um in the world that we live in, we focus so much on outside beauty, but it's the inner beauty that's the most important thing. Like, yeah, you look good on the outside, but you can be so ugly on the inside, and that reflect in how you handle people, how you talk to people, how you show up. And that's more important than anything, because one of the biggest things I learned in getting closer to God and really learning who He is that we will give an account for everything we said. We will give an account for everything that we did. We will not give an account for how we looked.
Mm,
The outer appearance, He's not going to be worried about that. It
yeah.
literally says in His words that for every word spoken, we will give an account for that. And younger Symone, I really wish I would have known that, because yes, I was bullied, but I still had moments where I said mean things and I was a mean person. Like, what was poured into me at the time, I poured that back out to other people unknowingly. So that's something that I really would have like spoken to myself, and also would have told myself, girl, you are beautiful. Your skin does not define you,
Yeah.
at all. And your black is beautiful. Like, people pay for melanin. Like, I learned, like, he's like, paying for this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't let what people say about you deteriorate or tear down what the truth of what God says about you. Because your identity in Christ is more important than the identity of what man says and how they perceive you. Because at the end of the day, when we leave, you're going to be standing up by yourself. You're not going to have your mama, your daddy, or all the people that talked about you. It's just going to be you and God. So none of that really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. Where did that first experience happen where you were almost kind of drowning in your own trauma? Like, what did that look, or where does that start, and how does that look?
So I would say it started the first time I tried to take my life. I'll never forget, I was at the townhome we lived in. I was upstairs and I had taken some medicine, tried to overdose. And my best friend at the time, Crystal, I was talking to her. I can't remember what I was saying, but I remember her coming to the house, knocking on the door, running up the stairs and saying, Symone, are you okay? Symone, are you okay? And they took me to the hospital and they pumped my stomach. I made it. At the time, I was mad. I ain't gonna lie. At the time, I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like, why you let me stay here? And they put me in a mental institution.
Wow.
And I had to stay for a couple of hours. I don't remember if I stayed for a couple of hours or overnight, but I had to stay there. And being there, I'm like, yo, I'm nothing like these people. Like, yeah, I have my dark times, I have my dark moments, but it's not to a place where I need to be, institutionalized. Like, that's how I felt. But clearly that wasn't the case, because I did have a second attempt. And the second attempt at the time, my sister, she was like, you need to stay there. I'm like, nah, please come get me. And I didn't understand how much. She's just leaving me in here. So I called Charlene, love her, may she rest in peace. And I ended up calling her and I was like, hey, my sister won't come get me. Can you come get me? And she was like, Symone, this your second time. I come and get you. You sure you gonna be okay? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I ain't gonna do it again. And I didn't. I did not do it again. I kept my word. They let me out. And I remember having this conversation. And at that point, I was like, okay, Symone, you can't keep going through this. You can't keep doing this. Like, because the third time, you might not get out. Like, you really might have to stay there and you don't want to be there. So, like, what is it? Like, what is it that you really need to do?
What triggered the first and second attempt?
Loneliness.
Okay.
I felt misunderstood. I was sexually assaulted. And I didn't want to talk about none of it. Like, I feel like a victim in everything. Like, in everything that I experienced and everything that I went through, I feel like a victim. And I also feel like it was my fault. Like, had I not put myself in these situations or these circumstances, it never would have happened to me. And internalizing all of that, like, and people tried to talk to me. Like, my boss who came to get me when I was sexually assaulted, he was like, Symone, you want to talk about it? My family tried to ask me about it, but I just carried so much shame and so much guilt and so much pain that I did not want to talk about it. So, like, really just internalizing everything, from not even just that, from having to be rooted from losing my home, coming to Tallahassee, not having my parents, like, feeling alone there. Like, my sister, she was in her 30s, her 20s at the time. She wasn't worried about me. She was living her life. Like, it was like so much build up, so much buildup, so much buildup, and I just felt so alone. But I felt alone because I didn't want to let nobody in, and like in going through all of these things all my life, it just I got tired, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to deal with it anymore. So I was like, I don't want to deal with it. You know,
Yeah.
I could just let it stop.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can definitely sympathize, empathize with you on that. You know, I was in the military, and I had two friends. I had one friend that attempted multiple times, and I caught him multiple times. And then I have another friend that actually ended his life. So like suicide, and I've also had I haven't had like I'm gonna go ahead and do this, but I have had ideations where I'm like, hell, if I wasn't here, the world keep moving.
Mhm.
So I definitely feel you on that. When does God enter the picture and
Oof.
transform your way of thinking about yourself? You're eliminating loneliness, or um your building up of your character and all of those things.
God really doesn't enter until so I came back to Jacksonville around like 2014, 2015. My niece is 10. Yeah. Around the time my niece was born, I ended up coming back to Jacksonville. And that, that was the start of it, but it really wasn't until 2018 when I started Symone Talks. I'll never forget. This is the day I'll never forget. I was in a relationship I was not supposed to be in, and I knew I wasn't supposed to be in that relationship. And at the time in the relationship, I was trying to, do better. Like we were fornicating, I'm gonna be honest. And I was like, I don't want to fornicate anymore. I was going to Impact. No, it wasn't called Impact then. I think it was called Faith Christian Center at the time. I was going to church and I was getting into my word. I was getting back into everything with God, and I really wanted to like change like how I was living my life, the things that I was doing. And things started changing. That's the crazy. Like the person I was with, he respected my feelings, but
Mhm.
because I made those changes, I didn't feel desired. So it literally took God separating me from that relationship and me really like being alone. I was living with the person. I had to go back to living with my sister, um, and
So the
being with my family.
reason why I chuckled a little bit is because you said that loneliness was the reason why you had attempted to end your life. And now God is removing you from this person and putting you
Mhm.
right back in isolation. How were those two times different?
So the first time I was more so I was like with my sister, my others because I have two sisters, but it was like I was more so like in the world. Like I had friends, peer pressure, all of those things. Like I was in, I know how Tallahassee is.
Yeah.
When you in
Small.
Tallahassee, the stronghold of that college life is heavy there. So it's like I was no longer in that atmosphere. I was in a different one. Like the atmosphere wasn't, it was conducive to like I was on fire for God. Like I needed to go to Tallahassee to get that fire, but it burned out that fire just as fast as I got it. But it wasn't conducive to the woman that I needed to become. Like I got what I needed, but I didn't need to stay there. So even though I had to come back to Jacksonville and re-isolate, it was more so all of those that going out partying that was gone. So it was like it was truly like me and God and ministry. It was truly me and God and me listening to sermons. It was truly me and God and me starting this YouTube channel and opening up about the things that I was going through. And although I was alone with God, I had my family. Like I had my sister, I had my brothers, my mom, my dad. Like I was back with my family. I was back with what I've seen as safety. I was back in that. And it was just a different, like, when you say culture shock, culturally, it's Jacksonville and Tallahassee are different. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, they have clubs, they have partying, but it's not as heavy as it is in Tallahassee. Like, it's
I
easier for
think
me to
that's
say
because
no than
Tallahassee is so small and Jacksonville is
yeah.
like really big. You can do something on the south side and you don't know what's going on the north side. Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the size for sure.
Yeah.
Cause like I said, Miami, Tallahassee,
Yeah.
that's crazy. And
Yeah.
then moving to Atlanta after I got out the military, that's another big city. Um,
Hmm.
it's a lot of the same stuff. It's just the size and
Yeah.
the proximity to people. Like
Yeah.
Tallahassee, if y'all went to the same middle school, y'all going to the same high school,
Yeah.
and everybody kind of floats in the same crowds.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
with God entering the picture when you move back to Jacksonville, how does what specifically was the catalyst for the transformation? I know you talked about you were in a relationship and that wasn't it. Y'all was fornicating and y'all wasn't supposed
Hmm.
to, all of that. But like what was the aha moment that was like, oh nah, God, I'm giving you my whole heart.
So it actually was that moment.
Okay.
We had got into this argument. I don't even remember what it was about. And I remember sitting on the bed just crying, like weeping,
Mm,
weeping. And I remember clear as day, God was like, get up. Like the Holy Spirit was like, get up. And that's when I recorded my first YouTube video. That literally was the start of Symone Talks. And I remember I'll create this YouTube channel because I feel so misunderstood. And I just want y'all to get to know the real me and yada yada yada. And that literally was it. Like the separation of something that I was trying to hold on to fill a void that God needed to be in was the breaking point where God was just like, you're crying, get up. It's time.
yeah.
Get up. That was
Mm,
really it. That shifted my whole life. And I don't want to say, oh yeah, I still fell short. I ain't gonna lie, but that was the moment that birthed who I am and what I do today. That was literally it.
okay, okay. So let's talk about Simone Talks. What exactly is Simone Talks? I mean, we talked about it in your bio, but just kind of hearing like how you started this whole process and like who is it geared towards?
So when I first, like I said in my bio, when I first started Simone Talks, it was just for me. Like
Mm,
it was for me to like share my story. It was for me to show up as myself for people, not as this dark skinned woman. Like it was literally I felt misunderstood and misjudged. And that was literally why I started my YouTube channel is because I wanted to show people the real me. Like I wanted them to know me outside of everything that they saw or felt or assumed. And it really started for me. Like I had to start talking about the stuff. Like I had to start showing up wholeheartedly as who God has called me to be. And that's how someone started. That's how my therapeutic healing through talking. That's how I started the healing process. Podcasts, YouTube videos. I even had a blog at one point where I would write about stuff. Like
mm-hmm.
I wrote about my sexual assault. I talked about my sexual assault. I talked about colorism. I talked about what really went on in my home. People from my middle school, people in Jacksonville, I was like, dang, Simone, I didn't even know you were going through those things because
Yeah.
we're taught what stays in the house, what goes on in the house stays in the house. And
Mm-hmm.
when you go to school, when you go do this, this how you show up. So taught, I was already taught or trained that whatever I go through, I keep it in.
Yeah.
I decided I wanted to break that. Like I didn't want people to see me as this dark or ugly girl. I wanted to see me as this stylish, funny person filled with personality and all of these different things. Like that's what I really wanted people to see me as. And
Yeah.
in me showing up, like it took me time to like really even get to the place of understanding what God wanted me to do.
Mhm.
My page started with so many different things, so many different other things. But it was more so when I got into like actually talking about it and talking about different topics, that's when other women was like, oh, yo, I'm going through this in my season, or I can relate to this and I can relate to that. Like it was more so when I started actually pinpointing different topics and different things that I started inviting other people into the conversation for them to, get their own healing or get whatever God needed them to get from me in those seasons and in those times. So that's really how Symone Talks was birthed.
Okay. I know you mentioned earlier about communication being something that was difficult for you, and what happens in the house stays in the house, all of that. When did, like, how do you get from I'm not talking about my life, I'm not talking about my traumas, to I'm going to talk about this, because Black people especially, like, we don't be talking like that. Hey, you not going, how you doing? I'm good. That's it. That's all you're gonna get from us. So, like, how do you get from I'm not talking about anything to let me share my testimony with you, no matter how dark it is?
All I can say, it was literally God. Like, it was literally, because had it been my choice, let me be honest with y'all, had it been my choice, I would have continued, to stay in the back. But it was literally God. And then I remember connecting at the time, I remember connecting with this ministry, and it was like, we lit for God, and lit off God. I can't remember the name. And I remember people ministering to me and like, Symone, you need to study Jeremiah and all these different things. So like having those different like-minded believers that, and we were all in the same age group too, like they fed into that, they helped build that up. And it was just like so many different things. Like, I really can't say it was God. Like, it was literally God. Because like I said, it was up to Symone, I wouldn't have shared not a thing, not a word, not a peep. There would be no Symone Talks. It was just a yes to God and
So
a
that
yes
that
to healing.
yeah, so I was just about to say, that reminds me of the scripture that says that we overcome him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of
And
what?
testimony.
Our
Our
testimony.
testimonies.
Our
Mhm.
testimony. So, like, even I share my testimony on this channel, and after I shared it, man, so many people, oh man, I'm struggling, or I was struggling with this too. How'd you overcome it? Blah blah blah. Like, and that's the importance of what you said that you do in your bio: build community. Like, to the new Christian, to the people that think that they're going to do Christianity in isolation, it's not possible. It's not possible. God will bring you through. God will bring you to seasons of isolation for pruning and all those things. But eventually, you're gonna go right back into community. You're gonna go right back into society. We're called to be the light of the world, and we're called to love our neighbor as ourselves. You cannot love your neighbor as yourself in isolation. That's You can't do it. You can't do it. How are you gonna help build somebody up at your house?
In your
Can't do it.
house.
Cannot do it. Cannot do it. So with life coaching, how did that come about? How did that come about?
Remember, it was the pandemic, 2020. Um, and God was shifting my ministry again because I had strayed away and just started doing content because I felt like I wasn't, well, mainly on YouTube. I felt like I wasn't getting the views or the traction that I wanted, so I just started doing anything. And I had lost a lot of videos, which was more so videos he did not tell me to do. Anyways, so during the time I was just like, okay, God, we're here. I'm not working. Like, what do you want me to do? At first, I didn't want to do it, but through my ministry, I was already coaching. Like, I was already doing it. So it's just like, what is it to like get the certification to get full understanding of it? Which I'm actually happy that I did it because it was a whole course that I had to go through and a lot of stuff that they taught us about the mind and what confidence is and like things that I thought I knew that I didn't fully research because I am a researcher. I'm big on studying the word, not just reading the word, but studying the word, like deep diving into it, um, as well as consuming it. So yeah, it was God pushing me
So
to
so
do
so
it.
without giving a free session, what is confidence? I know you said you talked about how you found out what confidence really is. What is that?
So based on what they taught us, it's not appearance. It's not that. It's not even about how you feel. It's actually about faith. Really, it's faith.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing it. It's the doing of a thing. It's
Yeah.
the showing up of it. That's what confidence is. It's taking those steps and continuing to take those steps.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So by it not being a feeling,
Mhm.
and you just
Mhm.
jumping into it. Let's
Mhm.
talk about the book. How did you jump into the book?
So, fun fact, as I was preparing to release my book, I actually started the book in Jacksonville.
Okay.
I started the book back home years ago. I want to say at least 4 years ago. It was at least 4 or 5 years ago when I really started the book. I did about 2 chapters, maybe 1 or 2 chapters originally. And I remember sending it to my brother, and he was like, "I don't really feel it, Symone. It's not enough." So I gave up.
Yeah.
Then I started it back up again. And then that's when it was called Girl, You Don't Want to Be Unstuck, or Girl, You're Stuck, or something like that. And I sent it to my sister,
Mhm.
who's like my right hand man. And I was trying to get the cover done, which I'm a creative, so I do a lot of my graphics, a lot of my work. I had designed it myself. And she was like, "No, something's not right." So she sent me to somebody to help me, and it still wasn't right. So it was just like I just couldn't finish it. Like
Yeah.
I could not finish this book for the love of me in Jacksonville. And at first I couldn't understand why. I didn't get it. So moved to Texas, 2024. I moved to Texas, February 2024. I want to say at the end of the year, I don't remember. I don't know if it was 2024 where I repicked it up, where I started it again,
Mhm.
and then something in me still wasn't right.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying, but I'll never forget. 2025 this year. It was 2025. It was in April. Um, mm, and my dad, something had happened with my dad. He had lost mobility.
Mhm.
He was on the ground for like 3 days, and I was
What?
ready to come. Yeah. I was ready to come back. I'm not gonna lie, I was ready to leave everything here, everything that I did, everything God was doing. And I always say this, the only thing that would get me to come back to Jacksonville is my daddy. The only way the enemy would get me to come back, even though I know I'm not supposed to do that, is by something happening with my daddy. And that happened, and I was like, yeah, he's not gonna be mobile, and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, oh, I'm gone. I'm out of here. Like people don't understand. In my mind, I had made up that I was gonna book a flight, a one-way ticket, and I was gonna go home and I wasn't gonna come back. I was gonna silently leave.
Mhm.
And I remember telling a friend, he was like, "Simone, why are you going back?" I remember having all these conversations with the people, the community that God gave me, and I was like, "Why are you going back?" And then um I was preparing to go just to visit because I couldn't focus on nothing. I couldn't focus on work. I couldn't sleep. Like I just couldn't focus because of everything going on with my dad. And I remember right before I was getting ready to come back to Florida, my church had this panel, healing the wounded heart and healthy relationships or something like that. And I had submitted these questions to the panel, because I still sometimes struggle with communicating
Yeah.
how I feel. And I feel like when my emotions are heightened, I don't want to talk about it. So I remember submitting these questions, and other people had submitted these questions as well. And it was talking about marriage and relationships. And it was talking about how Ruth and Boaz. And it was like Ruth was working when she met Boaz.
Mhm.
She wasn't looking for him, she was working. And then all of everything that they said just resonated with me. And it's crazy because when we was talking earlier, I said, when I went to Tallahassee, I wanted what was familiar. And the same thing happened when I moved to Texas. I was still wanting what was familiar back in that safety. Like I felt like
Mhm.
I was missing that safety. Like my family, I know if I need something, I could call on them. Like my family was my safety. My dad was my safety. And God was trying to get me to depend on him. Like he was trying to say, like, Simone, like
Yeah.
you asked for this. I brought you here. Like it's like the children of Israel. They run what should have took 11 days took 40 years. And that's what I was like.
Yeah.
I was holding on to so much. And people don't understand, even through Simone's house, I was still holding on to stuff. Like I was still like my ministry literally grew with me. It
Yeah.
literally grew with me. And it wasn't until I came here and I really like listened to what the apostle at the church that I was going to was preaching and listened to what they said on the panel that it finally hit. I was ready to pack up and go back home. God didn't want me to pack up and go back home. He wanted me to let go of my home.
Yeah.
He wanted me to let go of the familiar.
Yeah.
He wanted me to walk in freedom. Freedom. I'm not gonna show this because it was an author's copy approved. So he wanted me to walk into freedom, but I just couldn't let go. Like of the pain, I couldn't let go of the hurt. And it wasn't until like it clicked that day that I was getting ready to pack and leave that God was like, no, I don't want you to leave here to go back home. I want you to leave home. I want you to leave the pain. I want you to leave the despair. I want you to leave the trauma. I want you to leave the fear. I want you to leave the doubt. I want you to leave the brokenness. And I said, okay, God, 48 hours, we're going to finish this book. 48 hours, we're going to finish this book. We're going to publish it.
What?
48 hours, I finished the book. But it took me so long to publish it. Like, it took me so long
Hold
to
on.
publish
Hold on,
the
hold on, hold on,
book.
hold on, hold on, hold on. It only took you 2 days to write the book.
It took me 6 years, 4 to 5 years. It took me 6 years to get to the freedom, but it took me 4 to 5 years and it's only 30 pages. It took me 48 hours to finish it. It took me 48 hours. Yes, 48 hours. I sat with God. I put on my worship music. I said, Holy Spirit, help me finish this. We're going to finish this. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I do have issues with finishing stuff, and I feel like that's something that's a generational curse on my family too. That has to be broken through me, like finishing, finishing, finishing. So it's just like I sat with God and I finished it.
Hmm.
And it was called something different. I'm not gonna lie. At first, it was called bondage, and then I was talking to my sister. I told you my sister, my right hand man, and she was like, "Symone, why is it called bondage?" She was like, "You're supposed to be sharing the light, like you out of the darkness, walk in it." And then talking to her, I'm like, "You know what? You're right. I have." And it wasn't just about the book. It was like, Symone, God is giving you all that you need, the freedom that you need. Like, walk in the light, walk in it. Don't just talk about it. Walk in it, live in it. Like, this brokenness, we get comfortable in our brokenness because it is comfortable. It's easy.
It's
It's
familiar. Like you said,
familiar.
yeah.
But the promised land, the flow of the milk and honey is unfamiliar. It's uncomfortable. Everybody can't go. It brings a new version of you. It increases your capacity. So we don't want to go into the promise. We ask for it. We ask for it, but we don't really want to go into it because it's, oh, Jesus. This
Go
is a
ahead.
full
Nah, go
circle
ahead. Go
moment.
ahead. Go ahead.
Because
Go
it's
ahead.
just like, even with my conference, I was like, God is calling me to do more. I know I'm going to go higher. I can't, like, it's like we don't want to let go. We don't want to let go, but we do want to elevate. We want to elevate, but we don't want to let go.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a double-edged sword. Like, God, I want to go higher. What he say, exceedingly abundantly above all. We want that,
Yeah.
but what comes with it, we don't want to go through it. So it's just like I had to go through it. And when I finally I rededicated my life on Easter.
It's awesome.
I posted some of this. Everybody hasn't. I rededicated my life on Easter. I got redipped. Yes, I
Yeah.
did. Yes, I
Yeah.
did. I'm not gonna lie.
That's
I
what's
got redipped. I joined my church. It's crazy. They did an MVP day a year, like around the same time that I got redipped was the same time that I had they had gave our certification for joining the church. So it's just like when I wrote the book and then after talking to my sister, I realized that I was holding on to all the brokenness. God was expanding, he gave me everything. Like people don't say, I went from a room. I was staying with my sister in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I wanted to move, but God wouldn't let me move in Jacksonville. I tried to get my own apartment, but it would not work out. When I moved here, got hired with my job the same week, got approved for my apartment the same week, had everything that I worked overtime to make sure I had everything that I needed. And then what I thought I was gonna pay, I didn't have to. I only paid like $300-400 for a deposit to get in
Right.
my apartment. In Florida, they wanted thousands. So it was just like, I didn't, and everybody around me was telling me this, and it's crazy how it's just now. It didn't hit until I wrote the book, but it just took me dying to myself and releasing the past,
It
the
took
wilderness,
confidence.
hmm
Like you said, it took confidence. Confidence is not
and
a
faith.
feeling. Oh, man.
It
Yeah,
took
you
me doing
preaching.
and sitting and actually like, okay, God, we're gonna get this done.
Yeah.
And because I had, that's what, and that's the credit. It's like we have everything that we need. Like we start stuff. Like I have a whole journal already designed, a whole workbook. It was already there. It was just the doing. And I know I couldn't do it in Jacksonville. I know I couldn't. I love my family. I love my city. I love the support that I receive, but I could not grow there.
Yeah.
I had to come here to do it.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that's what God is doing.
Wow. Man. If you could, if you would like, just kind of give us like a summary of what the book is about, and if you'd like, share an excerpt from the book.
So the book is about it's breaking free from bondage. It's my testimony, it's my story, condensed of the five things that I had to like really um go through. Like the five things I really had to get to God, which was accountability,
Mm,
facing my truth cycles, going to God and really like asking him to help me, um, getting outside help, therapy,
yeah.
um, coaches. I did have coaches. That's something I didn't dive on. Books, like different things that I had to do to go outside of myself to really like build up and grow. And then the pressure of really like outgrowing my bondage, like by really being free, really like saying, okay, we can't keep going through this. You gotta outgrow this at some point, Symone. Like, come on now, get up. That's really
Yeah.
what the book is about. What I had to do to get to the freedom
Mm,
and what I had to acknowledge in myself because everything wasn't everybody. Some things was from other people, but a lot of it was inner work and inner healing that I really had to do with God, with just God. I couldn't do it me, God, and a man. I couldn't do it with me, God, and my sister, me, God, and my brother, me, God, and my daddy, me, God, and my church, me, God, and my friends. It really had to be me and God
yeah.
and nobody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will read a little piece of the first chapter, which is called Keep It Real with Yourself, The Weight of Accountability. The first step, admitting where you are. For years, I told myself I was okay. I convinced myself that I could handle everything on my own. I downplayed my struggles and ignored the warning signs, anxiety, isolation, and the constant feeling of emptiness. I functioned well enough to fool everyone, but deep inside, I was breaking. I had convinced myself that it was okay because it was my comfort zone, my escape. I stayed. Why? Because it was safe, or at least that's what I told myself. One of the greatest deceptions of bondage is denial. We tell ourselves it's not that bad. I can handle it on my own. No one will understand. I don't want to be a burden. But here's the truth: you can't heal from what you won't acknowledge. If you're going to break free, you must be willing to face yourself, your pain, your habits, your weaknesses, and even the lies you've believed for too long. It's easy to blame circumstances, other people, or past trauma for where we are. And while those things may have played a role, we have a choice in how we respond. Accountability isn't about shame or guilt. It's about owning your journey and deciding that you won't stay stuck.
Hmm. That's good. That's good. So right now I'm doing a Bible study on light, and um Jesus saying that he is the light of the world. And then just like really diving into what light does. It does three big things. It shines upon the darkness, it reveals truth, and as it's revealing truth, it eliminates um it eliminates what's not like the light, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So when I hear you talk about sharing your testimony, you're shining light on on not the problem, but you're shining light on your challenges in life, your story. And again, it all goes back to we overcome him being Satan, him being the cares of this world by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So I want to ask you this last question. Last question. What does it mean to you to have overt faith?
To me, it's because they say faith is the substance of things unseen. So overt faith to me, which is what I'm learning, is that um what is it? In Isaiah 54 verses 1 through 5, it talks about how it's about infertility basically,
Mhm,
but it talks about expanding your territory, like
mhm,
God enlarging your territory. You feel like God turning his back on you and he's bringing his compassion and his grace back to you. And that's what overt faith means to me. It's like a lot of times we feel like we lose because we can't see it. I
mhm.
couldn't see God. I couldn't feel God. So I thought he wasn't there. So I
Mm,
ran to everything else. The doing was the other people and other things.
yeah,
So the overt faith that I'm learning is him. It's trusting him. It's knowing him. It's learning him. It's understanding him. It's really, oh Jesus,
go ahead.
going to him above anything and everybody else. It's the doing is him, not
Mhm,
us. He calls us to do, but it's in him. It says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So you can have faith in everything else, but if you don't have over faith in God, nothing else matters. Nothing will sustain. Nothing will last. Like, can't do it without him.
yeah,
Can't. You can try,
right.
but you can't. You can't do it without him. And that's what it means to me. It's faith in him,
Yeah.
not in me, not in things, but in him.
Mhm. Yeah, faith. Faith is surrenderance to God.
Mhm.
Like for real. So many times we think we have faith,
Yep.
and when the thing don't work out or the thing don't go as planned, it's like, did you really have? I mean, did you really have faith? Did you have faith
Did
in
you
me, or
really
did
have?
you try to have faith in yourself for real?
Exactly.
Or did you have faith in the thing?
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, man, faith is everything. And
Mm.
the big thing that the reason why I named this thing, I don't even know what to call it, this channel. The reason why I named this channel Overt FM, FM just stands for Faith Ministries. It just like so many times we shout from the rooftops who our favorite football team is. We shout out from the rooftops what we support, what political stance we have. But when it comes down to who we follow as far as who is the Lord of our lives, we like to be like covert with it. We like to, oh, I'm gonna mention it kind of a little bit here. I'm gonna talk about faith, but not faith in who I have faith in, but just faith. And we try to have this ambiguous, oh, you just gotta believe. And overt FM is all about, no, I'm going to be just as overt, if not more, about
Mhm.
who I put my faith and my trust in, who is
Mhm.
the Lord and Savior of my life. A lot of people love the fact that Jesus is their Savior, but they don't want him to be the Lord over their life. The Lord
Yeah.
means that he is the Lord over every nook and cranny of your life. So full surrenderance is
Mhm.
how we garnish, how we get faith. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, man. Symone, I appreciate you. Uh, let everybody know where they could follow you, the socials and all that, where they could pick the book up at, the name of the book,
Um,
everything. Go ahead.
you can follow me on social media, everything TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, um, YouTube, Symone Talks. It's on the backdrop, all cohesive, one word, and it's all together. Symone Talks on everything. As far as the book, it is currently available on Amazon. I also have a Shopify site where you can get your shirt, Break the Silent shirts, as well as the ebook. What else? And it's SymoneTalks.com is my website. Symone Talk without the S.com is my website. So that's where y'all can connect with me at.
I'll put all that in the show notes, man. I'll put all that in the show notes. Man, Symone, again, I thank you for being a guest on this show and sharing your story, because again, we overcome him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So I appreciate you for having overt faith, and until the next time.
Thank you for having me as well. And I'm proud of you for doing it and continue to do it, because ministry is not easy. And like I said, I took a little break. So it's a constant, yes. It's overt faith to continue to show up and do it every day. So thank you for continuing to do it and show up for all of us.
Sure. All right. That's been our first episode of Overt Conversations with Friends. I guess we can call it that. Until the next time, much love, Godspeed.